friends, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you love what you hear today, take a second to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. Your support helps this podcast grow and helps us bring on more amazing guests who you are here to... Nah, try that again. Hi friends, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you love what you hear today, take a second to hit that subscribe button, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. Your support helps this podcast grow and helps us bring on more amazing guests who are here to inspire and empower you. So don't forget to tag us on social media when you are listening. I love seeing what's resonating with you. We're gonna dive in today with Courtney Boylan. She is a mompreneur who has built her retail in breastfeeding equipment, and so she has designed these products, had them manufactured, and she is shipping them out. So if you are ever interested in the retail side, she gives some great advice on how you can do that step by step to make this a little bit easier for you. So take a listen and let us know your thoughts. And be sure to leave her a 5-star review on her Amazon page as well. Thank you. Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shae Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote, and today's quote is, "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door." So today I have Courtney Boylan. She is the founder of Lolo, a brand dedicated to making postpartum essentials beautiful, functional, and empowering for new moms. Inspired by her own experience as a mom of 3, she created Lolo to fill a gap in the market, offering stylish, high-quality accessories that remind new moms of their strength, beauty, and worth. With 16 new breastfeeding accessories that just launched, Lolo is on a mission to revolutionize and beautify the postpartum market. At its core, the brand is a reminder that self-care and self-love are essential during postpartum because no one is more deserving of a beautiful accessory than a new mom. So Courtney, thank you so much for being here, and I am so excited to learn more about your journey into and why, because I got a whole story about the whole postpartum and not feeling beautiful. Courtney, tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got here, and take it away.
First of all, thank you, Shae, for having me. So excited to be here. My journey to entrepreneurship and Lolo was one that I never expected, to be honest. Before having my children, I worked in retail leadership for Target, and I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I wanted to do my own thing, but I was never passionate about anything, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. And then once I had my son, I was breastfeeding. I used a nipple shield, and it was clear, and I would lose it all the time in the sheets, under the couch, in between the cushions, under the bed. I could never find it. And I searched for a colored shield, and I couldn't find one. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to make my own. And then 3 years passed. I had my daughter, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I was getting a little antsy. I wanted to go back to work, and he was like, you should take this leap into entrepreneurship and make your nipple shield. And I was so scared, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I didn't believe in myself. I was like, what if I'm the only person who needs this? I just didn't have faith in myself to do it. And he really pushed me. If you have a dream and you're passionate about something, you should go for it. And I'm so grateful for that. So I started designing my nipple shield. I made it a beautiful color. As I was designing it, I was like, if I'm gonna redesign this thing, I should make it pretty also. So I shaped it like a flower, and that is when I had the spark in my brain, and I was like, wait a second. As moms, we are sent home with these products, and we have to buy these products to use after birth to take care of ourselves, and they're so stale, they're so clinical, and they make you feel like a patient. They don't make you feel like you just achieved an amazing thing by birthing a child. And I was like, I can recreate these accessories and make them beautiful for new moms. And if there's anyone more deserving of pretty accessories after birth, it's a new mom. And that's where Lolo started.
That is so amazing. So you've been doing this for what, a year?
Yeah, so we launched our nipple shield last Mother's Day in 2024. And just in early June, we launched our full line of breastfeeding accessories.
That is amazing. So what has that process looked like for you? Because that is a huge, I would not have any idea on how to do that. And like we were talking off before, and you were saying like, that's very scary. You had no idea what you were doing. Two things that kind of caught my eye or my attention is having a support system is big. It really is. And even if you don't have a support system, you can still do it. I do believe it'd be a little bit tougher, but because your husband was pushing you and he supported you, that made you take that leap. For me, I knew I could do it. My husband is more of like the analytical, oh, this could go wrong, blah, 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 blah. But he still supports me. You know what I mean? And then two, the other thing is having the belief in yourself, because so many people like you even did not have the belief. And if you truly have the belief in yourself, nothing will stop you. But you have to stay in alignment with that and keep focusing, because you're going to have negative people. And I'm sure maybe you've had some bad reviews, or people tell you like, oh, that's never going to succeed, or nobody's going to buy that. I don't know if you have or not, but I would imagine you have. And if you haven't, you probably will eventually. Yeah, that's just amazing. That is amazing.
Absolutely. Everyone is not going to the product you sell. And we haven't got a ton of negative reviews, but I do remember I was sharing my vision with one of my neighbors, and she just shot me down, and I was like, oof, ouch, like that hurt. She's, I don't know if that's gonna sell. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's tough to hear. And that just gives me motivation though to, keep going. And I can silently on my own. She probably has no idea how she came across to me. Like, she doesn't remember that conversation, but I do, and I will never forget it. And it's just motivation for myself to keep going. I don't need to flash it in her face or show her that I'm succeeding, but in my own heart, I know that, you know what, I'm doing this. But yeah, the support piece is huge. My husband has been amazing, and I did a lot of mindset work. I listened to a lot of manifestation podcasts and self-development podcasts just to help me get my mind in the right place to help me grow as an entrepreneur and just as a person, and remind myself that I am strong and I can do this. And if I put my mind to it, I can achieve anything.
Yeah. Your mindset is the most important thing you can ever have, whether you have your own business as an entrepreneur, a mom, whatever it is. But your mindset is the most important thing. So what are some podcasts that you listened to that really helped you get that mindset?
Absolutely. So the first one I listened to is called The Law of Attraction Changed My Life. And the host, her name is Francesca. She's out of the UK, and I just love her because she's so funny and she's so relatable. She's a mom, and she does a little bit of woo manifestation type of things, but her story is crazy. And she went from $0 to this huge platform that she has now through her podcast. And she's a single mom, and she's just so motivational, and I love listening to her, and she makes me laugh at the same time. And it's so crazy because I was listening to one of her podcasts one time, and I'm going off topic here, but you got to hear this story. So it was a podcast on mentorship, and I had skipped it a few times. I just didn't want to listen to it. And then I was on my way home. I had a long drive ahead of me. I was like, okay, I'm just going to listen to this. At the end of the podcast, I don't even know why, but she starts talking about how when she was breastfeeding, she has twins, she was breastfeeding her twins.
I got goosebumps. I know, right? Yeah.
Her sister brought over a nipple shield because she was in so much pain, and the nipple shield changed her life. And I was like, this is this is my sign, right? I'm listening to a manifestation podcast, and at that moment, I was feeling I was in the development phase of my nipple shield, so I was feeling really scared, and like I hadn't sampled it yet, and I didn't have any feedback, so I was basically beating myself up and wondering if I should continue to do this. And I heard that podcast, and that was like the thing I needed to say, wow, if that's not a sign to keep going, I don't know what is. It was wild.
That is amazing. And I truly believe in manifestation. I truly believe in signs. I also think it's manifestation, and God's sign to take you down your purpose is also your intuition. I feel like I've always had a good intuition, and most people don't follow those intuitions because they're scary, because they're unknown, because they don't know what's going to happen. So I would say 98% of the people in this world might have that intuition, like getting pulled a certain direction, but they don't follow it because there's not a clear path. Because if you had a clear path of this is what you need to do, this and this, it's a lot less scary. But we don't have that. It's like having a kid. You're just sent home with a child that you're supposed to keep alive. And I'm like, what is this? Yeah. So then what was your other podcast?
I have been loving, and I recently just picked this one up, but Mel Robbins has a self-development podcast that is just amazing. She covers all sorts of topics, and she's incredible and has amazing researchers and experts on there that I eat it up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one that's really good that helped me, especially early on in my years, is The Mindset Mentor by Rob Dial. He has like over 2,000, I think, podcast episodes. Absolutely amazing. He was like my go-to. He doesn't interview people, so it's a little bit of a different process, but he comes on and talks about mindset and manifestation, whatever it is, but absolutely amazing. So I definitely throw that out there. I give that up to. I've never met him. Maybe someday, but yeah. So I've heard. Absolutely, I did that yesterday. I was recording on a podcast, and I talked about Rob Dial as well. I was like, I haven't met him yet, but I think someday I will. So I'm just gonna keep going. See, manifestation.
Well, I love good podcast recommendations. So thank you for sharing.
Yes. Yes, I do too. I love them. But I haven't been able to listen to as many podcasts as I normally like to for a couple different reasons. One, I've been reading the Bible this year. That was one of my goals, is to read the Bible. So I have this Bible app. So I spend most of my mornings, I would say 20, 30 minutes every morning doing that instead of reading or a podcast. And then two, taking my kids to and from school and everything. So from my drive from home into town, dropping them off. I used to be able to listen to my stuff then, but I don't anymore because we have their music to listen to.
Oh my gosh, isn't that a thing? My kids are little, so they like to listen to these songs that are just horrendous, and it's always the kid song, and then you get like Wheels on the Bus stuck in your head for the rest of the day.
I will say I'm very fortunate that for some reason my kids, they're 10, 8, and 5, and they don't like those kinds of songs. They like Try That in a Small Town. They like Haunted by Jelly Roll. They like Nobody. It's a Christian song. Like they like all these good music. So I'm all for it. I'm on the Monsters by Shinedown. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't probably let them listen to it, but they do. It's not a terrible song, but it's like a kind of metal. It's not my vibe, but they do like it. But so it's not like the little kid stuff. So I can at least handle it. But I'd like to listen to my podcast or something like that. But that doesn't always happen. So yes. So I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about, I love what you're doing, honestly. And I think it's absolutely beautiful because as a new mom, especially on your first child, I just remember how disgusting I felt. And I'll never forget when I was pregnant with my second, I had a midwife, and she had like a nurse, she was training a nurse. And I remember she asked me, she said, Shae, what would you say is the worst part about pregnancy? And I said, honestly, the 2 weeks after you have your baby. So when I had my first one, the cord was wrapped around her neck, and this doctor was an old style doctor. He wasn't patient at all. He literally came in and he literally cut me from one end to the other, like cut. So like I remember standing in the shower feeling disgusting. Like I remember like that couple days after, like I remember standing in the shower, your stomach's flabby, your boobs not sure what it's doing, your hormones are all over the place. I remember standing in the shower and I can't get clean. I feel disgusting. I never had to use a nipple shield, fortunately, but I did pump and do all those things where you have these big machines and you're strapped to a wall. Like nothing is more, I don't want to say degrading, but not exciting than having to do that. Now they've come a long way, and on my third child, we had the freemies, and you could be free and still pump rather than being tied to a machine up against the wall. But they're ugly. Like you said, they are very clinical. Purple is my vibe. So if there was like a purple pump or whatever I needed back then, 100% I would have paid for something that was a lot prettier, because they are very clinical. They're very boring. They're ugly. There's nothing fun about them.
Nothing. Yeah, I
Yes.
totally agree. Like, I really struggled with postpartum because, especially as a first time mom, you don't know what to expect. You can research as much as you want and you can read all these things and get tips from your friends and your family, but until you actually go through postpartum on your own, you don't understand the toll it takes on you mentally and how you actually feel. And I really struggled with that.
Yeah.
I had a tough time accepting my body. Like you said, like your stomach is flabby, like you still look pregnant, but you're not. Like your milk's coming in, your boobs are engorged. Like it's just not a comfortable time. And then you're trying to take care of a baby on top of it that you have no idea what you're doing. You're not sleeping. It's
Yeah.
just such a roller coaster of emotions and feelings that you go through. And I just, there are actually there's research articles out there that say when you have a physical surrounding of a beauty, or you're using something that's pretty, or they say to make yourself feel better, get dressed and put a little bit of makeup on. There is actual research that shows that beautiful things help you mentally. And so my thought is, why can't these products that we're making and that we have to use, like we have to use these things, why can't they be beautiful for new moms? There's no reason they can't.
Yeah.
And with Lolo, the number one thing is I had to make these products functional first, and that's the number one thing. But after they were made functional, then they were created to be pretty also. You get both.
Yeah. Yeah. And I never had to use a nipple shield. So for me, I don't know what that is, but I remember my friends, I had a couple of friends who did, and I would watch them use these nipple shields, and I'm like, that's terrible. That looks, one, it looks painful, and two, like not appealing. Like it doesn't make you feel sexy. Not that, but it is nice to feel sexy. It is nice to feel pretty. And I would agree with that, because when I get up and I get some nice clothes on, I'm not like a huge dress heels kind of person. I'm more of like a casual, look nice, dress nice, but I'm more of a tennis shoe kind of person. So like I'm usually wearing tennis shoes with dresses and skirts and all of the things. But when I do feel most comfortable, because otherwise if I put myself in a tight dress and I wear heels, like I don't feel like myself. You know what I mean? So you also got to feel what matches you. But if I'm comfortable and I look nice and I have my makeup on and my hair somewhat done, it's usually more casual like this. But you just look and you perform better, you do better. And when you're a mom, and even stay-at-home moms, like I give credit to anybody who's a stay-at-home mom, because I feel like that's where so many women lose their identity. And there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, and a lot of people love it. I don't know how people do it. Mentally, emotionally, don't know how people do it, because you do end up losing your sense of identity because you're more so a mom. Everybody is at your beck and call, and women tend to, as nurturers, give up their self for others. And so it's like a downward spiral, especially if you're not getting up and taking care of yourself, getting dressed, putting makeup on. You got to pump and you got stuff all over the place. Your boobs are hanging out, all the things. So tell me, what are your other products that you have? Because you said you have 16?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay, and so what are those other products?
So our first line is to build off of the nipple shield. So they're all breastfeeding accessories. So really anything you could think of that you would need for breastfeeding. Disposable nursing pads that are the cutest things ever. They're shaped as flowers. They're beautiful. We have reusable nursing pads that come in skin tone colors. We have a lactation massager that's shaped like a flower and comes in beautiful tones of mauve and blush. We have silver cups. We have a lactation roller. We have literally, like, people ask me, I'm like, I don't, what do we have? We have nipple cream, nipple balm. It's called Beyond Balm because you can use it on your nipples,
Yeah.
and you can also use it on babies' dry spots or on your lips. It's good for anything. It's all natural. We also have some really beautiful accessories. I created a journal. Journaling was super, super important for me for postpartum as a way to connect with myself and bring myself back to who I was. And so half the journal is prompts for mom, half the journal is a baby tracker. And they all have like beautiful quotes through on every single page just to uplift moms. We have a
Yeah.
beautiful leather carrying case for all of your breastfeeding accessories. I had my stuff everywhere and I never had anywhere pretty to put it. So I created this really beautiful leather carrying case that you can put all your accessories in. I created a nipple shield sticker that goes, one of the main things that moms complained about with their nipple shield, it was always fell off. So I created a nipple shield sticker that is double adhesive silicone. So it sticks to your nipple shield and then it sticks to your skin so your nipple shield stays in place. Literally anything that you could need for your breastfeeding journey is in our line. I always like to
That
mention
is
though, like
amazing.
we at Lolo, we are not a breastfeeding company. We are just a company for moms. I don't care how you feed your baby, whether you breastfeed, you bottle feed, you use formula, it doesn't matter. We are a company for moms. We just happen to sell breastfeeding products.
Okay, so going down, my mind goes like, how did you do that? How did you get to, do you have a manufacturing company? Have you had to hire and find people to test out what silicone works well while people are using the nipple shields? Have you had to find, because you said your balm is all natural. So did you create that or did you have to partner? How does all of that work? I have no idea. I sell houses.
I had no idea either, and I just figured it out on my own. So the first thing I did is I created, especially for my nipple shield, I found a designer. I literally, I'm the worst drawer ever. I like drew a picture of what I wanted it to look like. I sent her my designer's amazing. I found her on Fiverr or Upwork, which are
Oh,
amazing
yep.
platforms to use if you want contracted
Yep.
work. And she had used a nipple shield also, and she's a mom, so she knew what a nipple shield was. So I sent her like this terrible drawing and I was like, this is what I want my nipple shield to look like. She created a 3D drawing and made me my nipple shield. And then I found a manufacturer. I used Alibaba to start. A lot of people have different views on Alibaba. I love Alibaba. I've had great success with finding manufacturers that way. And I found a manufacturer who creates baby products, silicone products specifically, and I use them. I sent them the design. They create a mold, they create the product, and then they send it to me. So I think people get scared around like, how am I going to do it? But it's actually pretty simple. There's also a website that I use. I didn't know about it when I first started, but it's called Import Yeti. I think that's what it's called. And you can look at brands that are similar to you and you can see who their manufacturer is. So, for example, like Kite Baby. Everyone knows Kite Baby, right? They make like beautiful swaddles for new babies and like really cute jammies for babies. You can go on there, type in Kite Baby, and you can find their manufacturer of who makes their products. And then you can reach out to them, to their manufacturer if you have a design, say you're starting a pajama line or whatever, and see if they would make your product for you, which is so crazy.
Wow. Yeah, there's so much to it. Okay, so then what does something like that cost? And then do you have to get it patented? Have you gone down the road of trying to get it patented? And then what does it cost? The freelancer and the designer, a little bit cheaper because they're obviously freelancers and you pay them, I would say probably a pretty reasonable price. But then sending it off to the manufacturer, what does the cost of that look like with no guarantee of return?
Yeah, absolutely. When you are looking for your manufacturer, you need to do your due diligence to make sure that you're partnering with the right one. So I talked to tons of manufacturers. And ultimately, I made my decision based off who has the best communication with me that I feel like I can trust, who has quality assurance records stating that their manufacturer is what they say and that they have all of the safety guidelines and certifications in place. And then price, obviously. Those are like my top three things. I did choose
Right.
I didn't choose the cheapest manufacturer because I felt my
Mhm.
relationship with the manufacturer I did choose was better than going the cheaper
Mhm.
route. Cost is part of it, but it's not the biggest thing for sure. I would say
Mhm.
relationship is the biggest thing. And
Yeah.
so I manufacture my products through China, and it depends based on the product that you make. Because my nipple shield is a custom design, I had to pay a mold fee, which is about $2,500. And then they price
Okay.
per unit. So they price my nipple shield per each nipple shield that I create. And it ranges based on the product that you're making. So obviously, my lactation massager costs more than my nipple shield does, because my nipple shield is just a piece of silicone. My lactation massager has
Right.
a battery in it and has to be charged. But
Yep.
yeah, that's really how you do it. And then like all my manufacturers created my boxes for me. I created the design template, sent them to them, and then they print all of them. They package all my stuff, and then they send it to me already packaged.
Wow. So then they send everything to you and then you distribute
I
from
do.
there?
So I pack all of my products in my basement. A lot of companies use what's called a 3PL, where basically it's a distribution center. You send your product to them, and then they will
Right.
ship it out for you and hold your product.
Mhm.
We have a big enough basement where I'm
Mhm.
able to house my products, but obviously, as we
Yeah.
continue to grow, that will be something that we're going to have to look into.
Because I'm assuming that there's probably a fee for that. So right now it just makes more sense for you to be doing it and shipping it out.
Absolutely. So I have hired packers who come to my home and they pack our boxes. And they're like my high school neighbors, so I
Mhm.
trust them and they love a good minimum wage job. But with a
Right.
3PL, you have to pay a storage fee, and then you also have to pay the fee for them to pack and ship your items.
So then is that kind of similar if you were to connect with Amazon then too? Would you be able to have the manufacturing company ship it to Amazon and then they'll ship it out? Because those are all things I don't understand at
Yeah,
all.
so we actually sell our nipple shield on Amazon. And
Oh.
yes, my manufacturer could ship directly to Amazon. Now, Amazon has a fee,
Mhm.
obviously, for holding and shipping as well that you pay. But yeah,
Mhm.
essentially, you could look at Amazon as a 3PL for sure. You're paying the same
Okay.
storage and
So
shipping.
currently, even though you sell through Amazon, you still do all of your packaging and mailing because it's probably cheaper for you at this point in time. Just and then so people probably order through Amazon, but it's coming from you.
No. So there's two ways you can do Amazon. You can do so in order to get the Prime check mark, you have to send your product to Amazon and they store it for you. You could also do
Gotcha.
I don't even know what the term is, but without the Prime check mark, I could ship it from my house, but it doesn't get to the customer faster. So it makes sense if you're going to
Right.
sell through Amazon to have the Prime check mark, because then it can get to my customer in 2 days rather than waiting.
Mm.
I'm in Maryland, so if someone's ordering in California, it's going to take 3 to 5 days to get to them. Whereas if it's in Amazon, I send my products to Amazon and they disperse throughout the country. So I probably have products on the West Coast and the East Coast and in the middle, so that anyone who orders, they
Yeah.
choose from that specific distribution center to get the product to the customer faster.
Interesting. So then what do you pay Amazon for something like that then?
Yeah, so
If you don't mind me asking, if you don't want to put that all out there, I just wanted to
totally.
open this up to somebody who's looking at retail and creating their
Yeah,
own
Amazon
product.
takes probably about 30% of my sales. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. But it's still better than not having that option or that opportunity though too.
correct, yes. I also advertise on Amazon because as a new company, if someone's going on to search nipple shield, my nipple shield is not going to pop up because I don't have the credibility and I haven't been on there long
Mm-hmm.
enough or have the reviews to be at the top. So I have to pay for advertising on Amazon, which obviously cuts into my budget. But my goal is that using Amazon, I can build brand credibility, and people will
Yep.
go to my website to purchase my nipple shield and then go to Amazon first and see if they carry it there, because they know they can get it faster. And they also don't have to pay shipping on
Yep.
Amazon.
Yeah. And free returns, I would assume
And
still,
for
if you have that blue check mark.
yes.
So Now, listeners, what I encourage everybody to do right now is go on to Amazon. And Courtney, where can they go to leave you a 5-star review? Even if you haven't used the products, let's help another fellow mompreneur out. Get onto Amazon. Go leave. I'm going to do this too. Go leave a 5-star review. So where and how? Where do they need to do
You are
that?
amazing.
Tell listeners
I
what
just
they need
have
to
to
do.
say, reviews are so important, and I didn't realize this until
Yes.
becoming a business owner on my own. But you have to think about the way you shop, right? If I go on Amazon, I'm looking for the reviews before I buy something. But I
Yep.
never left them because I use them, but
Yeah.
I never left them. So now that I'm a small business owner, I try and make sure to review everything that I buy, especially if it's from a small
Mm-hmm.
business, because it's so important for building brand credibility. So thank you, Shae. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
If you go onto Amazon
Yes.
and you type in Lolo nipple shield, Lelolo, it will pop up and we'll be the first. And then if you scroll down, there's a place that you can leave a review.
That's awesome. I just jumped on Amazon. I'm looking at all of this. So cute though. I love those little nipples. Those are so adorable. And I love like the green. I love your color schemes. I love them. Love them. So yeah, go on to Amazon right now. Leave a 5-star review for Lay Lolo nipple shields, whatever you can do. Even if you haven't used it or don't plan on using it, let's help motivate and inspire and build up other fellow mompreneurs as much as we can, because reviews are so important, especially 5-star reviews. If it's a small business and you're not happy with what it is, I encourage you to reach out to the owner directly or whoever they are and tell them your concerns. Don't go on and just leave a bad review, because those really truly do impact them. I'm a real estate agent in my area, and my Google reviews, because I do Google, I don't use Amazon, but Google reviews are so important and it takes time to build them. I've helped over 400 families buy and sell, and probably even more than that. I only have 92 reviews. And so it's still hard, even though I had a great experience, it's still hard to get people to leave those reviews. So if you do get a chance and you get an opportunity, leave those 5-star reviews for, especially like Courtney said, smaller businesses. But let's go in and, sorry, woo, ambulance and fire truck. But let's go on to Amazon. Let's leave a 5-star review. All of those help. And same with this podcast too. If this podcast has helped anybody, go on there, subscribe, share, leave a 5-star review, share it to the other people who might be inspired or empowered by it, especially if they're thinking about getting into not real estate, retail and selling their own products. This is amazing. I've never understood how that whole world works. So this is a great way to understand and learn at least the initial steps for all of that.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? To add on to reviews, I think the average consumer, if you're not a business owner and you're not like thinking about it deeply, I think the average consumer, when they're upset, that's when they want to leave a review. If you like something, you're like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. But it's like the ones who are upset by it or who really don't like it are more likely to leave the review. So that's why it's so important, if you really love something, to leave the review. And our
And it
are
goes
on
back
there also, so you can leave reviews for those as well.
on what?
Our nipple shield stickers are on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's so important, not just even on Amazon, but even on Google, but even on podcasts too, because it's a perfect example of, I told you, Rob Dial, I've listened to probably 1,200 of his episodes, but it probably wasn't until the 900th one or the 1,000th one that I finally was like, oh, I should go leave a 5-star review. Even though on every single one of his podcasts, he says, I used to be able to quote this verbatim, but I don't remember what it is anymore. It's been a while. But basically, every single one of his podcasts, he says, if this podcast has inspired you or you found it informative, please leave us a 5-star review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I heard that every single time, but it didn't take me until, even though I love it, I've shared it with so many people, it didn't take me until the 900th time to finally go leave a 5-star review. So everybody just take 5 seconds, go onto Amazon, go leave that 5-star review. Let's subscribe to this podcast, share this podcast, leave me a 5-star review. But it does truly help. Courtney, as we wrap up, what is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's either considering venturing into the entrepreneurship world, or maybe who's just getting started, or the younger version of yourself?
My number one piece of advice is, if you have a dream and you are thinking that you want to do something, but you might be a little scared, go for it. Take the leap. You will not regret it. Nothing that you do is going to be a failure. It will always be a learning. Whether you're successful or you're not, you're going to learn something from the path you take and from taking that leap. So don't be scared and go for it, because you're going to grow from it and you're going to build your confidence. And if to my younger self, I would just tell myself to believe in who you're going to be, and what you're doing is the right thing, and you're going to be successful, and you're going to love where you're going to be in the future. Yeah.
And you don't learn from your successes. You do learn from your
Absolutely.
failures. And like you don't fail unless you don't get back up, but we make mistakes. We learn through. I have learned more times than I have failed. I have quote unquote failed many times, but I learn from everything. You take responsibility and you move on. You learn from it. What you go through, you grow
Absolutely.
through.
The things that I've learned the most from are the things that haven't gone right. The things that go right, you don't learn as much from those. It's the ones that don't go right that you have to pivot and find a different direction, and that's where the growth is.
Yes, very much so. So, Courtney, where can people go to learn more about your products? Do you have a website? Obviously, you have Amazon, but what is your website where people can go to check out your
Yes,
products?
our website is www.wearelelolo.com. That's we, and then RARELELOLO. And we are most active on our Instagram. We are Lolo. We would love for a follow, and we'd love to follow you back.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. And everybody, as a quick favor to ask, again, please go on to give us a 5-star review with this podcast. If you felt that this podcast has inspired you or maybe beneficial or helpful to somebody else, share it over to them, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and don't forget to go on to Amazon to lay Lolo nipple shield and leave a 5-star review for Courtney as well. So thank you so much, Courtney, for being here. And I appreciate all that you've done and just really sharing your insight, because this is something that is not familiar to me at all, but I think it's a good stepping stone for somebody who's maybe interested in diving into retail. I keep saying real estate, geez, retail, and starting with freelancer to create the design that you want, and then finding a manufacturer. Like, those are the very basic steps, but that I would have no idea.
Absolutely.
ChatGPT might tell me.
I'm always open to help anyone. So email me. You can find my email address, hello@wearelelolo.com. You can email me directly from there. And if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer. But thank you, Shae, so much for having me. This was so wonderful. I had the best time.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shae J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.